Welcome back to Freshly Charged, where we have the brand new VMAX VX2 Extreme in-house. They pretty much took their old scooter and made it even better, so we're excited to check it out. Without further ado, let's get this thing unboxed. Very nice packaging. In this box we have the instruction manual, a tire valve extender with a tool, charging bag with charger. This is a 54.6 volt and a 2 amp output. This is a 16.5 amp hour battery, so this should take a little bit over 8 hours to charge from empty to full. So setup was a breeze. All we had to do was unfold it, attach 4 bolts at the top and tighten a few bolts. Let's go ahead and do a quick walkthrough and start with the cockpit. On the edges of the handlebars you have these turn signals, which are surprisingly bright, and they have this protective piece on there so that if it falls on the side it's not going to break them. You have these really nice handlebar grips with holes for your fingers so you can get extra grip on them. A brake lever on the left side is actually your mechanical drum brake in the front. You have a nice little bell right behind the brake lever, and then you have the buttons to adjust the settings, the turn signals, and also go through the different speed settings. There's 2 speed settings. There's an eco mode and a sport mode, and right underneath those buttons is a nice USB port so you can charge your peripherals with it. To the center you have this nice upgraded color display. This is what we had seen on the VX4, but they've now brought this to the VX2 Extreme, which is a TFT LCD display which is easy to read in direct sunlight. The display is easy to navigate and adjust the settings on the scooter. You can also connect to the Bluetooth app and track your rides or adjust settings from there. On the right side you have the control buttons for the light and the power button, thumb throttle, and then another handlebar grip with turn signals lights. The right brake lever is to control the electric braking. Moving down the steering pole, you have a light in the front, which is surprisingly pretty bright. Coming down, you have the folding mechanism, which has a double safety mechanism. So once you open it up, it's not just going to fold. You actually have to press down and now it'll fold. Nice little latch in the rear that hooks into place. Easy to lift. The GT version is just underneath 47 pounds, and the smaller battery version is just slightly over 45 pounds. Plastic fender, 10-inch by 2.7-inch tubeless pneumatic tires made by Xiaoyang. Your drum brakes. We have the GT version, which is a 48-volt, 16.5 amp hour battery. In the rear, you have some more turn signals that almost look like little eyes, and they're pretty sweet. They're bright as well. Big, oversized rear fender, rear brake light, place for a license plate if you live somewhere that needs a license plate on the scooter. Right below the fender, you have another 10-inch by 2.7-inch tubeless pneumatic tire, and inside of that tire you have a 500 watt motor with a peak output of 1600 watts. This scooter is supposed to reach a top speed of 25 miles per hour and have a pretty decent range because we have the largest GT version. We're excited to get this freshly charged, take it for a spin, tell you what we love about it, what could be improved on it, and who should buy the VX2 Extreme. We're back. We got the VX2 freshly charged. We brought it up to Dillon, Colorado for a reason. This scooter has an IPX6 water resistance rating, so we're gonna test that. 2 is it's extremely hilly here, super high peaks, and we're gonna test out the hill climbing ability. And then 3, we're gonna do the loop, which is my favorite ride of all times. It's about 23 miles, so we're gonna test out the range of the VX2 Extreme GT. So yeah, we're at beautiful Lake Dillon. It's magnificent outside. It's been raining, it's been sunny, windy, all sorts of things, but we're gonna tell you what we love about the VX2 Extreme. 2 huge things about this scooter is the UL rating and the IPX6 water resistance rating. For me, it gives me peace of mind that if I'm riding in rain or a torrential downpour, I'm not gonna ruin the scooter and I can keep going. And the other thing is if it's been rained on, with the UL certification, I don't have to worry about a lithium fire.
Honestly, one of my favorite features that I see on other VMAX scooters is their protection of their lighting. You see the blinkers on the side here, we mentioned earlier, they have that silicone cover on them, which is super helpful because if I drop my scooter, it gets knocked over, falls on the side like that, it would shatter that blinker light if that silicone wasn't on there. On top of that, your rear blinkers back here, they have a little bit of play, almost like a joystick. They're able to move. So if it gets hit by something here, it's gonna be able to bounce and not snap off your rear blinker.
Yeah, and on top of them being protected, they're ultra bright. So that's one of my favorite things about them. For me, it's the color display. I love color things. I love that they swapped out that kind of analog display and put in this LCD TFT display, which is nice, crisp, and clean, and can easily be seen in direct sunlight. And some other things that they've upgraded compared to the previous VX2 is they made the deck a little bit wider, which helps a lot. The deck isn't that big to begin with, so the fact that they made it a little bit wider makes it more comfortable for longer rides, especially this one. We're going to do about 23 miles today.
The torque on this is crazy. It's super easy to pop a wheelie. In fact, maybe too easy. So do be cautious if you're going to have it in sport mode, because it kind of just looks like a commuter scooter. You wouldn't expect that. And then all of a sudden your front wheel's up in the air if you full throttle it. On top of that, when we were climbing that hill back there, we were holding 24 miles per hour super easy. And that was a very steep hill. So I was super impressed with the amount of power that it's able to deliver on a steep incline.
And then this scooter doesn't have suspension, but it does have tubeless pneumatic tires. So the tires act as a little bit of suspension, and I love that they're tubeless because tubed in pneumatic tires just tend to get more flats, and you shouldn't ever be dealing with pinch flats.
Also, another VMAX staple is their handlebar grips, which we see on this scooter as well. Probably the best grips in the scooter world that I've seen personally. They grip your hands well. They're the perfect diameter, so you can wrap your fingers all the way around them. So we were going down that steep road. I was hitting bumps and cracks, but yet I didn't feel like I was losing grip at all, simply because these are just the perfect shape and size as well as texture.
And they have these little finger holes in them. They really remind me of DMR death grips, which I have on my mountain bikes. Those finger holes help out a ton. The regen braking on the scooter is great. So a lot of electric scooters have regen braking, but they're pretty awful. This one can actually slow you down, and you don't have to use a regular brake nearly as much due to the good regen. I love that this VMAX scooter comes in 3 different battery variants, so you can choose what battery size is going to meet your needs. We have the largest battery size, but if you want to save a couple $100, you can get the small battery size.
Probably the greatest thing, in my opinion, about this scooter is its folding mechanism. You see, not only does it have the safety latch, which is super helpful that you don't accidentally get it unfolded, but it clicks into itself just like that, and it's sturdy. It's not popping out of there. That's huge for me because I can't tell you how many times I've gone upstairs and it's a hook that's slid into the scooter and then it pops out and I hit myself in the face with the handlebars or something like that. This just makes loading it into a car and stuff so much easier.
So we're gonna go ahead, ride to our next stop, and tell you things that we feel could be improved on the VX2.
So let's talk about what we think could be improved on this scooter. For me, starting out, although the tubeless tires do absorb some vibrations, in my opinion, this scooter needs some sort of suspension. I really would have thought they would have had at least coil suspension on it. And when we were going down that super steep road, the little bumps and divots in the asphalt, it was jolting me and I was feeling every single crack in the road.
Ultimately, if you're gonna buy the scooter, you really want it for smooth pavement riding.
Also, the unboxing was super smooth. However, when you're putting the handlebar onto the stem, the wires that are inside, it's almost like you have to jam them in there. We didn't have any problems with it, but it does kind of just seem weird that you have to shove them in there so hard and aggressively.
The front light is decently bright, but you can adjust the angle. So I wish that you could adjust the angle. If you're in the middle of nowhere, angle it up. If you're on the streets and there's people around, angle it down.
99% of the scooters that we ride, your rear brake is going to be the left handle here. On this one, it's actually flipped, so I have to keep retraining myself. It can be a little dangerous sometimes because I naturally reach for this, but I don't want to flip over the front of the handlebars, obviously.
I love that they reinforced the rear fender, but I wish there was a kick plate on the scooter. The deck is a little bit short, so I'm finding issues of where to put my hills at. And the last thing for me is I love the electric braking, but I wish it was paired with a disc brake. I prefer disc brakes over drum brakes simply because they have a little bit better stopping power. However, drum brakes do require less maintenance. We're going to keep riding, finish this range test, and show you the exact range that you can expect from the VX2 Extreme. So the official range test is in. We've got 19 miles and 45% of battery left. So pretty dang good. We had this in sport mode the whole time. We were going 25 miles per hour. We don't expect to get the 46 miles of range because that's normally on the lowest speed setting. But having this in beast mode and getting 19 miles of range and still having 45% of the battery left is still pretty dang good. Dalton, who should buy the VX2 Extreme?
I think if you're looking for a premium quality commuter scooter primarily for the streets, you're not going to get a better quality product than this one. Make sure to check out our full written review at freshlycharged.com, and when you ride, wear your safety